And Andrew didn't know at the time was that James's family's house was foreclosed on. His family was separated from one another. James actually spent some of the last money he had. He even took out a loan to learn from Chris and Andrew. And he started at zero. He started at zero, as you can see there on the left. And now his story has completely changed. He earned $10,000 a month within 16 days, weekly paychecks of over $70,000, and now he's made over $530,000, even more than that. We'll share his exact number in a second. Now, we shared the story with you today about James because Chris and Andrew, they realized that they're kind of hoarding this gold mine of information, that there's a ton of other people just like James out there that could benefit. Tons of people that really need to change their life, want to change their life. And they realize that it's not about what you keep in life, but it's about what you share, what you build, what you do to help others. And that's why they decided to share this with you here today. That's why I'm here helping you today. I'm blessed to be here to help these guys get this information out to you here today. Now, again, this isn't theory. This isn't something that we just talk about. We don't just talk about results. We show them to you. You can see the results clear as day on your screen. We're actually going to show you more and more throughout the training and prove to you that this works. Prove to you that not only Chris and Andrew are getting results, but that their students are as well. We'll back it up with results and proof and data the whole way. Nothing is theory. Everything is working right now, today. And when you put the system into action, what's really possible, right? We talk about numbers and income, but what's actually possible? What does that kind of income mean and translate to into real life? Well, imagine for a second you made the kind of money that Chris and Andrew do every single week. What would that mean for you? What would that kind of income allow you to do? Maybe it'd be, you finally have more time to spend with your family, or that financial or time freedom. Maybe you'd stress a little bit less about, your bills, or you'd finally be able to set your own schedule. You wouldn't worry about your retirement as much, right? And remember, you can do this all from your spare time. Who thinks this sounds good? Give me a big yes in the chat box. Give me a big yes in the chat box. Let me know if this all sounds good. Kai says yes. Roy, Amber, Judy, John says yes. Awesome. Now, even better, when you stay until the end, we've got a few things that we're going to share with you today. Chris, Andrew, you guys want to jump in here and share what we have?
Yeah, so when you stay till the end of the training, we're also going to show you the exact niche that made us $5.2 million, and we're not going to hide it. We're going to give it to you. And second thing is, we're also going to show you how to find the best products that will make you the most amount of money. It's going to be very simple, so just go to hang tight on this one, okay? And the third is we're going to also show you how to use artificial intelligence to pretty much simplify and automate this so you can have a 95% success rate. And of course, we're going to show you the 4-step system, where you can start using your free time to start earning $10,000 a month. And even better than that, right? When you stay to the end of the training, and this isn't something that's on your screen, but we're going to show you how to do this for free, completely free, without any risk, without any experience or technical skills. So at the end of the training, we are going to show you how to do exactly all that. But right now, there's a lot of claims and screenshots and proofs. We're going to back everything up. So throughout the training, we're going to remove all the obstacles for you and cover all the claims, to get you started and have success with the system.
Awesome. Yeah, guys, make sure you stay until the end because our system is actually programmed to know if you stay until the end of the training. So make sure you stay until the very end to get all this awesome stuff that we have prepared for you. Let's keep moving forward. Now, we've been talking for just a little while here, so let's introduce ourselves for a really quick second. My name is Mike Balmaceda. I am your host. I'm introducing you guys to Chris and Andrew here today. I'm going to be talking a little bit about this system, their system, and I have an online business called Amplify. Now, even with the successful online business that I have, I plan on getting into this business that we're sharing even more with you here today in the next 30 days. And thankfully, I've been able to meet people like Chris and Andrew and, actually be able to work with them in this kind of capacity. And let's go and talk about them for a second, right? Because they're the stars of the show. Let's introduce Andrew. This is Andrew right here, and it looks like he's achieved a good bit with that car, right? But his story is kind of a crazy one. He wasn't actually always successful. In fact, he has a family that's filled with doctors and accountants and lawyers, and he was pressured to achieve like them. In fact, he was the underachiever in the family, as you'd say. He rode up in a beat-up Honda. He had a 2.7 GPA. He was the family outcast. His counselors in school told him he had little to no future. His aunts and uncles, his family laughed at him, saying that he could really never amount to anything. This is what his own family told him. Now, this was him in high school. This was actually the last time he got a diploma. He did go to college and he dropped out. He dropped out. His family thought he had no future. He was actually living at home with his parents. And one day, everything changed. His dad got laid off of his job. His family didn't have any money. So while he's living there at home, his family was in dire need of help. So Andrew, he stepped up. He started an online business, a drop shipping store, and he failed big time. He failed over and over and over again. And then he stumbled upon and started working on this business, the one that we're going to share with you here today. And he spent hundreds of hours of trial and error and researching and sleepless nights trying to figure this out because his family needed his help. Then something crazy happened. Andrew finally started making money, making hundreds of dollars a day, growing that to thousands of dollars a day. And eventually, over time, he made $80,000, as you can see there, July 13th and 14th. A little over 24 hours, it spilled into the next day there, made $80,000 in 24 hours. Imagine failing, right? Being the family outcast, being laughed at, to making $80,000 in a day. Of course, that didn't happen right away. He's been doing more than that consistently, and we'll share more about that in some screenshots later. Everyone in his family kind of shocked, right, that he's doing so well. In fact, Andrew now consistently makes millions of dollars a year, bought his dream car, but more importantly, he was able to support his family when they needed him. He actually paid off his family's mortgage. Now, even more than that, his family, his mom, his sister, both quit their jobs and work with Andrew now on this business that we're talking about. That's quite the reversal, and we're going to share what he's doing that's working so well. This is Chris. This is our other star of the show, and Chris had a much different path. Chris, he came to the US as an immigrant at age 10 from South Korea, only knew how to say hi, how are you, and thank you. And Chris had a traditional Asian household, got a corporate job, was destined for it for life, but was miserable. He worked 80 hours a week, had to sit in LA traffic to and from work, and then he met Andrew. He saw Andrew while they were at lunch having success. Andrew turned his phone around and showed Chris how he made $300 in 3 minutes. Later on, he saw Andrew make $80,000 in a day, and obviously Chris was hating his job at the time. Looked at Andrew, he said, "Andrew, teach this to me, man." Andrew's a nice guy. He said, "Listen, if you commit to doing this, I'll show you what I'm doing. I'll teach you what I'm doing." Chris kind of took it to the extreme. He quit his job. His family freaked out just to learn from Andrew. He had no idea if it would work, and obviously his family was like bugging out, and it turned out okay. Chris started making thousands of dollars. In his second week doing this, he made $2,000 every day. His third week, he made $8,000 a day, all profit. Now, what happened after that is that Chris and Andrew have been able to team up, make over $5 million together, and they named their system Simple Wi-Fi Profits, their 4-step system, because of how easy it is to earn with just a Wi-Fi connection, internet connection. This 4-step system allows them to have financial freedom, time freedom, and location freedom. And we'll share more about that today. On top of that, they traveled to 55 countries, 127 islands, 300 cities outside of the US. And you can see here, Chris on the left-hand side in front of these sunsets. Looks like he's like remaking the Titanic there in that second picture. Not sure what's going on here, Chris. We'll talk about that after the training. But each of them bought high-end cars, luxury sport cars, right? You see in the third picture, they speak on stages around the world. But more importantly, they spend time doing the things that they love with the people they care about. Before all that success, their family said, stick to your 9-to-5 jobs. Do not go off the beaten path, right? Some of them even said that Andrew wouldn't amount to anything. These guys have failed. They've been in many of our shoes, and these guys, in my opinions, are the superheroes. These guys are superheroes because just like normal people, they actually have one really powerful skill, and it's this system, and they've done extremely well. In fact, these guys have said there's no car, there's no house, there's no watch that they can buy to replace changing someone's life, just like they changed James's life and all their students' lives. And that's why they're sharing their breakthrough system here with you today. Now, with that being said, does this training mean you're going to make $5.2 million tomorrow, this week, this month, next month? No, we can't guarantee results. Of course it doesn't mean that, right? Our lawyers make us say this. We can't guarantee results. We don't know you. We don't know how hard you work. Results are not typical, and most people who start businesses fail, mainly because they don't have the right steps, but many people do fail. Now, we're going to give you some time to read that disclaimer on the bottom there, but with that being said, what we are going to guarantee you is that you'll see the same tactics that these guys use, that their students use, and have generated these results. We're going to walk you through exactly what they're doing here today, but you have to be the one that takes action. You have to be the one that puts this into action and makes this work. Chris, Andrew, do you guys want to cover the 4 steps that makes this all possible?
Yeah, Mike, of course we can. It actually only takes, 4 simple steps. And so let's dive right in. The first step is to find a problem, right? Not just a normal problem, but a big problem that people constantly deal with on a daily basis. And we need to find an urgent problem that people are, willing to solve right now, this moment in time, right? And it took us, $3 million to research We're going to tell you what the number one problem is that we found. Okay, so now once we found a big problem, now our goal is to solve it. And the good news is that you don't need to solve it yourself, right? We can find someone else's product that'll solve this problem, and we'll also show you where to find the best products. Now, the third step, all we have to do is pretty much share this product with the people who need it, right? We found the problem. We also found that we need a product that can quickly fix their problem. And so all we have to do now is tell those people about it, right? Share it with them. And obviously sounds a little cliche and all, but that's how simple this is. And we're gonna go over all these steps. And last but not least, the fun part, right? Which is to make sales and profits. And so, when someone buys the product that we just shared, we're gonna make a commission, right? If you're confused right now, that's okay. We understand. We're gonna walk you guys through, everything step by step. And the best part is that when you put these 4 steps together, this is what's possible. $517,000 within just the first 2 weeks of 2020. So if you're questioning if this is still working, yes, this is working right now, today, and it's gonna continue to work for years to come. So imagine if you just made 1% of that, just 1% of 500,000, that's 5,000 in 2 weeks. And what does that mean? That means 10,000 a month. So imagine how that could change your life, right? And that's our goal here. And that's all we're shooting for, just that 1% of the results here. So we're shooting for $10,000 per month to start, and then we grow it from there. All right, Mike, the floor is all yours now. Please take it back over.
Okay, here we are. Here is step 1. Now, step 1 is to find a big problem that people have. And we know that if we find a big problem or a need that people have, we know that there's a huge desire to solve or fix that problem. And people will buy something that solves their problem. That's a fact. What we're gonna actually do is give you the number 1 problem that we focused on in just a second, but let's talk about where we should start looking. According to Forbes, the top 3 categories that most people struggle with are health, wealth, and relationships. And that makes sense. Usually, the biggest of our problems usually are somewhere inside of these 3 categories. So it makes sense that we should start looking here. We should start looking for a problem inside one of these 3 categories. Okay, so we figured out health, wealth, and relationships. Those are the 3 categories that we're looking into. But now, how do we find a big problem inside of those categories that's actually gonna make us money and help people in the process? Well, there's 3 things that we always look for to validate a big problem that'll work best for us. And write this down. There's 3 things. The first thing is that we want there to be a lot of people with this problem right now. We want it to be worldwide with lots of people so it won't ever get saturated. That's the first thing. Now, the second thing on your screen, you'll see we want the problem to be growing every year. And that tells us if the problem is growing, it's gonna be around for a while. It's evergreen. It's not something that worked a while ago and won't work in a few months. This is a long-term business here, not something that stops working after a couple months or a couple years. We want this to be long-term. So we look for the problem to be growing every single year. Now, the third thing is that we want these people to want to solve the problem so bad that they'll spend money on it. And for some reason or another, there's some sort of urgency to solve it, something at risk for them. Because if there's no urgency, right? If there's no urgency for them to want to solve this problem, they're going to keep that problem forever, right? Longer and longer and longer. And we don't want that. We actually want to help them now. We're going to explain more about that in a second. But what problem should we try to solve? That's the main question. Now, there's one specific problem that made you guys so much money. Chris, do you guys want to talk about it?
So yeah, there's actually only one specific problem that made us $960,824.41 in just 31 days. And let's be honest, right? A lot of the online gurus out there at this point would try to sell you specific information about what they did from this point on, or keep their specific niche from you and all of that. Well, you can consider us as the anti-gurus, and we're not going to do all that, right? We're actually going to flat out tell you what it is, because again, we're different from the gurus out there, and we're here to help you. So who here wants to know what this one big problem is? Just go ahead and type in the chat box. Okay. Robert saying yes. Carla and Chloe saying yes. Okay, so this is great. So the number 1 problem is weight loss. And I'm not talking about getting buff and jacked or super lean. I'm talking about helping people lose weight and be healthy again. Our number 1 big problem is weight loss.
Awesome, Chris. Yeah, so guys, what we're gonna do is show you the data of why weight loss is the number 1 problem that Chris and Andrew have focused on in just a second. But this step, just so you know, is so important because when we find a big problem, like we're showing you now, we wanna be able to market the solution to these people, right? So we can earn money and of course help them, right? And that's gonna be super easy to do. We're gonna show you that in step 2 in just a second. But let's go ahead and show you the data, the market research that proves why Chris and Andrew focus on weight loss as their number one problem and why you should too. All right, so why weight loss? Let's back it up with data. According to the World Health Organization, the WHO, more than 1.9 billion adults in 2016 were overweight. And in 2016, over 13% of the world's adult population was obese. It's kind of crazy. Now, marketresearch.com says that the weight loss industry grows at 4% every year. So that tells us two things. There's a lot of people with the problem, and the industry is growing every single year. Now, according to the World Health Organization, again, many of these people want to solve this problem because it leads to cardiovascular disease, which was the leading cause of death in 2012. It also leads to diabetes and cancers and different disorders also, so there's definitely some urgency here to get this problem solved. Now, even more than that, according to Forbes.com, overweight Americans spent $159 billion on stuff related to their obesity, whether it was healthcare or health clubs or diet foods or weight loss programs and so much more. In fact, Weight Watchers alone spent $1.8 billion in 2012. That's kind of crazy, right? That's a $159 billion industry that we're talking about here. So the thought in the back of your head might be, why would we just tell you the number one problem that made Chris and Andrew so much money? Why would we not just keep that close to our chest and keep earning from it, right? Why would we actually tell you what this problem that we're using right now is? Why would we tell you all about this? Chris, do you want to jump in and talk about the opportunity here inside of this industry?
So yeah, the industry, right? This industry is so huge. It's so big that we can all eat together and make money together from this industry. So even if every single person we know got involved in this industry, we're only actually hitting 0.00000 and 0.001% of the market. And the pie is so big that even when we did 900,000 in 30 days, we were actually only eating crumbs compared to what's actually possible.
Chris, thanks for that. I'm pretty sure that makes the point. Weight loss is a huge industry, and it actually satisfies our three requirements that we need for a problem that's going to make us a lot of money. We saw that weight loss has a lot of people with the problem right now, over 1.9 billion people. Second, we saw that the problem is growing every year by 4%. It continues to grow, and it's not going anywhere anytime soon. Now, three, we saw that people want to solve the problem and will spend money on it. Why? Because of health reasons. There's urgency to get this problem solved. And even just logically, guys, right? Like, weight loss makes sense. Out of health, wealth, and relationships, the first domino that usually falls of the three, the one that usually goes out of whack first, is usually health, right? That's why this is such a big problem. And even more than that, solving this problem, right? I want to nail that into your head here. Solving this problem for these people means that you can earn money on a daily basis. That's what this system's all about, right? We identify a huge problem like this one here first, so that we can solve this problem and help people. That's where the money's made. It's all about combining these steps together. And the great part is that you don't even need to solve this yourself. Someone else is going to solve the problem for you with a product. And that's step two. We're going to cover that in just a second, but I really wanted you to understand this as we move forward. But keep in mind here that you can take this process that we're talking about and you can, apply this to any problem out there. You could do this for dating or diabetes or the stock market or, literally anything inside of those three categories: health, wealth, and relationships that we talked about. But what we found is that weight loss is the number one problem that works best for us. As you can see here, weight loss made Chris and Andrew $127,000 in 24 hours. $127,000 in 24 hours. Imagine if you made that much in one single day. That's kind of crazy, right? Now, what they've done for you is they've already proven out what problem to go after. They've already told you with data. They've spent millions of dollars testing this. Weight loss is what you want to go after. So why would you go after anything else? They're giving you what works here. Type in the chat box if you see the potential here that by solving this problem, weight loss, you can earn a lot of money. I mean, you've seen the data. You've seen the proof. Type in the chat box if you want to learn the solution and how to solve this problem for people so that you can make money. Type in the chat box. Let us know. Yeah, lots of yeses coming in. Awesome. Yeah, guys, it's hard to fail when they've already done all the research for you. They've already spent millions of dollars figuring this out for you, right? Step one is done. You've already taken your first step towards creating this $10,000 a month business. We've already done step one for you. Go ahead and pat yourself on the back. Step one is done. Let's continue moving forward. Now, here's something that we want to touch on real quick, and it's about the urgency and the advantage that you have right now as we're diving into this system now. the 4 steps that are here. Now, why is it important to really pay attention and get in on this system right now? Like, why not start this tomorrow instead of today? Or maybe do this next week or next month when it's more convenient. Maybe not even start this system at all, right? Well, here's why. First off, the information that we're going to continue to share here is private. Only a small group of people know about this exact system that we're sharing. And think about it like this, right? You see a match on your screen. Imagine someone's just lit a match. The first thing that happens is that match is burning bright, and then that flame slowly starts to fade, right? Well, that's how valuable information flows in the world. The people that know things first, when it's burning bright, right, are usually the ones that profit or benefit the most. That's a fact. Now, the good news is that being a part of this training here is kind of like being in the Insiders Club. It gets you first access to this info before everyone else inevitably learns about this system, right? As we said, only a small group of people already know about it. They're holding the match